Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review hosted by your two favourite moon explorers. I don't know. I
want to go with astronauts.
Astronauts, yeah, either or. We're spaced out. Let's put it that way. But no, we are back and it is both of us. I think I only reviewed one film solo anyway, but we are reviewing none other than Fly Me to the Moon, which is a film directed by Greg Berlanti, who did Love, Simon back in 2017 or 2018, which was a good film. I actually really enjoyed that. But this film is starring none other than Scarlett Johansson. We've got Channing Tatum, Woody Harrelson, and it's to keep the plot. I mean, if you've seen the trailers, which it's been showing religiously in front of every film we've seen, which is fine. That's
got that dude off Everyone Loves Raymond.
Ray Romano. Romano. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. They've also got Jim Rash, who's famous from Community, who plays the director. But it's basically Scarlett Johansson plays a marketing guru who is hired to essentially pitch NASA to get them, well up in the public vote and public appearance side of things, right? Set when obviously the moon landing takes place in 1969. But so this film's a documentary. No,
it is 100% factual.
The conspiracy theorists will eat this one up, but it is an interesting one for me. I don't know what your thoughts were in regards to the film, because we usually don't talk until we got home. I thought this was like a perfect crowd pleaser. I feel like 95 to 99% of the people I say go see this film, they'll enjoy it. They'll have a great time.
I agree.
They'll have a laugh.
Yeah.
It's kind of got everything that you might want in a film. There's drama, there's romance, there's a bit of emotional aspect to it. I do have a few sort of quips with it and with the storytelling side of things, which I'll get into a bit later as we normally do. I don't know if you want to sort of touch on anything, but I really did like the performances. I thought,
agreed.
Like Scarlett Johansson is probably one of her better roles I've seen her in quite some time. Obviously, she's been in the MCU kind of.
She plays a lot of the same similar characters sometimes too. Outside of a few rare appearances, she usually plays something nearly action-packed over the last 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess this is a nice change of pace from the MCU machine. But I thought she was really good. I thought Channing Tatum was also quite good. It's probably something also different from what we've seen him in. He's been a dad. He is a dad, not been a dad, for some time. So he hasn't sort of done anything since probably maybe Jump Street days from what I can remember off the top of my head. I know he was signed on to play Gambit, which has been, in limbo for quite some time. Woody Harrelson was a bit of an odd one for me. He just played himself, but
always.
I'll touch on sort of my issues with that side of things a little bit later, but it did look good, the film as well.
It did.
The 1960s is such a stylistic period as well, and I thought it probably didn't lean into that as much as I'd like. There were a lot of modern filmmaking techniques in the film. It didn't really feel like it was made in the 60s, which is something I love. When I watch films that are set in a certain period, I love when it leans into certain filmmaking aspects of that time.
We love a good period piece.
So that not that that's a disappointing thing. It's just that always bumps it up for me. So I would have liked if it lent into more of that. But other than that, I'd love to hear your thoughts before I guess touch on a couple of my quips.
Mixed is in. I think certain parts of the film were so great for me, I nearly forgot about anything that may not have been. So I'm not sure I'm a great judgment on this one, to be honest. I really enjoyed all the performances along the board. Woody Harrelson plays exactly the same person he does in every single film, and that is himself with the lines in front of him, essentially. It is kind of...
Well, yeah, as of probably the last 20 years, he's kind of...
He's Look,
apart from maybe
I don't want
True
to pick on the
Detective
man,
TV
but
show.
there's been a
he's good at what he does.
He does. He's good at him.
He's great.
He's good at him. But yeah, Channing Tatum and Scarlett were absolutely. I loved their performance. For me, the actual sequence of like going to the moon was so well done for me that I was like, man, I'm in awe. It's like I got to experience what other people experienced when they got to watch it. I felt like I had that moment. Like I got like chills. I kind of got emotional. And I'm like, man, like fucking love space. So it's not fair because space is probably the one thing I'm most obsessed with. I don't even know tons and tons about it because there's tons and tons to know, but it's something that I just soak into. The moment it headed towards that, I'm like, this film's one of my favorite films I've ever seen. Okay. And no, hold on. Yeah, that's what I said. It's not a fair judgment. It's just because of that, and I had to really kind of bring it back.
Maybe go watch First Man or something. Director of Babylon and Whiplash did a film with Ryan Gosling playing,
Martian,
funnily enough, Neil Armstrong.
But yeah, look, I love that sequences. There was a few. I think you're probably thinking the same. There's a couple of like plot decisions which were a little strange or a little jarring or kind of out of place. But look, I enjoyed the movie along the board. Of course, I don't think it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. I just absolutely love space. I thought that sequence was fantastic as it finalised some of the film. But definitely some room for growth. But quite an enjoyable film along the board for me.
Yeah, when I say crowd pleasing, like I genuinely think this is quite a good film.
I
really enjoyed it. I think most people will. Where my sort of kind of quips come into play is I actually felt like the film would have worked better as a whole if it played into just a romantic comedy taking place around Apollo 11. Where it did lose me is actually with the Woody Harrelson character arc of, faking the moon landing.
Corrupt government.
Which is fine because all governments are corrupt, but that sequence just kind of felt a little bit out of place in the way. It did kind of cater into Scarlett Johansson's character, character progression and development. It kind of played into that. It allowed her to do, when you see it, you'll kind of realize. But I just felt like what really worked for me is, I don't think they had lightning chemistry by any means. They had good chemistry and it worked and it was believable. And I think the film worked when it was dealing with these characters in Apollo 11. And I feel like Scarlett Johansson's, or Kelly, her whole character arc and character progression development could have entirely happened even without that side of things.
Yeah.
Not saying that Woody Harrelson's character was meaningless because there were obviously a major part in that. It was just as soon as it went into that part, we spent a lot of time doing that.
It was telling a different story at the same time.
And then it kind of felt like it was dipping its hands in too many pies where maybe they are trying to lean into like a bit of a like, funny meta kind of look of they're making a film about the potential making of a film where a lot of conspiracy theorists and people still out there do believe. So it just felt like they're kind of going a little bit meta, but it didn't really work for me. But overall, I did have a good time. I had a few chuckles. I did get emotion, not cry, but, there were emotional points in the film, and it's just good to see a film, especially in the last few weeks, where I've seen Furiosa and A Quiet Place, which are like high intense, full on movies. It's just good to see a film I can go in, switch my brain off. Not that that's a bad thing, but I just had a good time and enjoy it. And I would probably, message my mum as soon as we've done filming this saying, yeah, you'll love it. My grandma asked me on the weekend if I'd seen this. I'd reply to her saying, yep, you'd love it. And they will. And that's the thing. I think this is a film that I actually do believe will do really well at the box office. Because I just think it's that kind of film similar to, I don't know if you saw it, Hidden Figures. I know it's funnily enough with also about NASA and the women behind the moon landing. Not that I think this film is as good as that. That was, Oscar-nominated film, which came out 2016, I believe. But that was a similar film that did big numbers because it was just a good time that everyone can enjoy. Maybe not the kids or maybe not teenagers or early teens, but everyone realistically from 15 up will probably have a good time with this.
I feel like this was definitely catered for a bit of everyone. There was no side of the film that lent a little bit too much towards like adult-based content. and it didn't go childish enough that you were disinterested. It was in that nice point of where I think it's absorbable by everyone. It was very catered to everyone.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing.
No,
at all. That's
at least they know their audience and they went for it.
well, yeah. You know, if you're talking about return of investment, if we're talking about marketing, they've done their job. Funnily enough, call us Kelly. But no, I just think perfect movie to kind of go in, have a snack with. It did cater, like it had your laughs, it had your romance, which people want. It had your drama, and even for you, like I do agree, the space sequence was actually, in my opinion, the best bit about the film in terms of the filmmaking side of things. And yeah, no, like other than that, that was probably the main bit of filmmaking I really thought was.
It was one sequence I absolutely loved, and it's not inherently important to our review, but I just wanted to talk about it. There was a sequence where it was like a 5-month period, and he's just like walking next to it.
What you're talking about.
And they had like the time lapse pretty much in the background, and he was walking at normal pace. I'm like, that was sick.
No, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. That's probably, funnily enough, the part I talked about where it's like that was modern filming technique, which I saw and I really liked, but it didn't really feel influenced by the time. Whereas, like, I won't even bother with going through comparisons because I can't think of anything. But that was a great sequence, but it's like it didn't feel 1969 to me at that point.
Other than the era it was sent in, it really didn't emphasize on those period-related pieces. That's for sure.
I mean, and the production design, the costumes, all of that was good. And
it was accurate.
and very accurate, and I thought they did a great job there. But I just, would have loved to see some, even if it was filmed on film, you had the film grain, like just little things that make it aesthetically feel like you're watching something happen in that time. So, but yeah, I think definitely go watch it. You'll probably have a really good time. If you have seen it, not sure if you have, but if you have, comment below, let us know what you think. Give us a like on the video. It does mean a lot, and subscribe for more of our reviews.
Thanks, guys.